since the beginning of the month. And so she's really had a major, I sort of call it the October shift, and has worked really hard over the past 2 weeks to regain momentum. And so I just kind of wanted her to speak to us tonight about some of the changes that she has made and the fruit that she's seen come from it.
Yeah, and thanks. And will you please, Rachel, will you jump in and like interrupt me with questions too as they come up? Y'all, I'm going to pray. I feel like I need to. If you're brand new to this team or this call, then you need to know that we don't always start team calls with prayer, but I feel like I need to, partly just because my heart's pounding. I'm a little nervous. So I'm going to pray for us, and then I'll share a little bit. Father in heaven, thank you so much for the chance to talk to these team members tonight. You've knit so many of us together, even so many of us, we don't hardly ever see each other in person, and yet you've knit us together as the family of God online and through Plexus, and I'm grateful for that. And I just ask that anything I say tonight would glorify you alone and not me and not even Plexus, and that it would be an encouragement to people who need to hear it. And if there's anything I say that isn't exalting to you, I just ask that people would forget about it. In your son's name I pray. Amen. So usually when I am like getting ready to do a talk, like I have notes and I really try to think, okay, what do they need to hear? And I'm just going to tell you, I'm not going to share that tonight. I'm just going to tell you the story of like this past year for me. And, partly because I haven't had a ton of time to prepare. Partly, I really don't think I should be doing this talk because I'm not like a leaderboard person. I'm not a flashy diamond. When I say flashy, I just mean like, cool, known for anything much. And I'm not trying to be fake humble because like, I get it. I'm a diamond ambassador, and that's a really big deal. And I'm super grateful for it. But I want to tell you guys, so 1 year ago, this week, I had a baby. And 1 year ago, they launched the new back office. So I remember being in Baylor Hospital with like a baby that was, maybe 7 or 8 hours old. And I started getting messages with people having plexus problems. And I remember being like, oh no, what is going on? If you are brand new to plexus, then I'm sorry, you're going to hear us talk a little bit about some of the struggles. But I hope what you hear is that every job has struggles, right? Like every career choice, every job, every situation that you've ever done that you've enjoyed also has problems. So problems started a year ago. It wasn't my first season of struggle in plexus for sure, but it was kind of an acute, really serious. We spent probably, I don't know, what would you say, Rach, like at least 2.5 months where all we did was we stayed on the phone all day long with customer service and tried to work out problems with system glitches. And if you were ranked like probably senior gold or ruby and above, you suddenly were dealing with team problems. People not getting their products, shipping kind of slowed down to a slow trickle. It was just lots of issues came up. So that was hard, but I also had a new baby. And I remember just like I'd sit on the phone and for hours and be like, oh, that's just my baby crying. Oh, don't mind me, I'm nursing. But so that happened, and that was okay. It was hard, but it was okay. And I was still working a year ago, but I did take a maternity leave. And when my maternity leave was up, I went back to work with a company that I owned and still own and still love. But when you're in the business of therapy, then you're in the business of managing people's problems. And so sometimes it felt like I would go to work and manage people's problems and then come home and do plexus and manage people's problems. And that was just hard. But I still was able to go diamond in March. And what a gift, what a blessing. It was certainly not because of only because of my hard work. It was because all of you guys working and you guys chasing your dreams as well. So super grateful. But I think I thought in March I went diamond, and I really sensed, I had been praying for a while, hey God, I really want to stay home with my kids. but I really loved counseling, and I had kind of built a baby. And so I was struggling. Like I had told God, God, if you help me achieve this goal of going diamond, then I'm going to really believe that you're saying it's okay for me to leave this career that I went to school for 3.5 years and invested a lot of money in, and invested a lot of money and time in this business. And I've been doing this for 12 years. And I did. And I sensed God saying, you need to get ready to leave. And I said, okay, God, I'm going to leave counseling in August. And he said, no, you're going to leave counseling in May. And I remember being stressed, like, okay, I don't think I'm ready, but I'll do it because it'd be great. It would be great to like have the summer with my kids. That's what I told myself. So I decided to let my partners know and all my clients know that I was going to leave counseling. And I did. And I did it in May. And then I'm going to be honest, June really sucked. So in June, and I prayed about whether or not to share this with y'all, and I'm just going to be vulnerable. Like, you know what? God is more glorified in my weaknesses than all the ways that I'm cool. So in June, we went to convention, and convention was awesome. It was so much fun, and they released Edge, and I was like, it's only going up from here, and I got to stand on the stage and hold that, glass diamond, and it's like, I'm finally, you feel like I've crossed the marathon line. And in June, I lost rank. And so I lost diamond. And I can say that with a smile because it happened, that thing. I didn't think it would happen. I think I was kind of surprised. It just happened by a few points, but it was enough to be like, holy crap. I just left a career, and I didn't really know why I had lost it. I'll be honest. I didn't know why, so I blamed Plexus, right? Well, I lost rank because Plexus isn't good enough. There's some problems with Plexus. But I'll tell you what, the whole month of June, I just assumed, well, I'm going to convention. Like I'm hosting team calls. I'm doing 3-way calls. Sure, I'll keep diamond, right? But I'll tell you, I had not added a level 1. Probably, I would have to pull up my reports to remember when I had added a level 1, but it had been several months. Now I had been working really hard on helping my level 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s reach their goals, but I hadn't been adding. Still, to me, it was like, yeah, but I'm doing what diamonds do. Diamonds help their downlines grow, and that's absolutely true. But that's not all they do. But I didn't know this yet. I just thought, well, dang it. I lost diamond like the month that they pull you on stage and celebrate you. So July comes. And oh, by the way, June also really sucked because suddenly I was a full-time mom with 3 kids at home during the summer, and it was hot. And I hadn't done that since my firstborn was born 8 years ago. And so I was like a fish out of water because I was used to getting up, going to work, having the kids stay with the nanny, and then coming home and squeezing Plexus into my, spare time, and suddenly doing full-time mom and doing Plexus. Like, y'all, I didn't know what to do. It was like a whole new gig, and it was summer. And they were with me all the time. God bless them. So I felt like uncomfortable, and awkward, and losing rank made it worse. But I kind of went into like apathy mode, like, oh, it'll work itself out. I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing. I'm going to keep training team members. I'll keep doing calls. We'll keep doing some of these basic training calls. And if I've got a Zoom scheduled, then that means I've been working, and blah, blah, blah. So then a lot of you guys know, but some of you might not know, we are family. Y'all, all I can say too is that I was so burned out. By the time I left counseling, so I had spent 2 years owning 2 businesses. And in the 2 years that I had started Plexus, and also I had, been owning my other company for a while, that company had seen a ton of growth. And we started to have a lot of just employee problems, like people problems. Like what happens when your company grows large and you add people, you get problems. That's the way people work. We are complicated, and you deal with personalities. And as a leader, you just have to learn to kind of move forward and not take things personally and encourage people. So let me just say that when I retired from counseling, I was really, burned out, like crispy. I was crispy. That's the best way I put it. I went into the summer like fried. My brain didn't work that well. And I remember thinking, Lord, I cannot wait until we go on this Colorado vacation. My family hasn't been to Colorado in a long time. I can't wait to get there and like unplug for a week. And like, we're going to go fishing and hiking, and kids are going to hang out, and I'm going to sit on the porch and drink coffee with my mama. And I think a lot of y'all know that I woke up on that very first morning. We had been partying with the Neagles the night before in Lubbock, and we drove into Colorado the next day. And my husband had altitude sickness. We wake up on that first morning, and he had a really bad stroke. And it was terrifying. It was bar none the worst thing I've ever been, the scariest thing I've ever been through. And it just brought our whole world like crash, just stopped. Everything stopped because we didn't know if he would survive. And suddenly, plexus by the wayside. Suddenly, everything I'd maybe been worried about, am I doing a good enough job? By the wayside. And I had the chance to not only just focus on my family and my husband, but I was given the awesome gift of, you know, some of you guys know what I'm talking about. When something really bad happens to you and you really have no other choice but just to really cling to the Lord. And some of you guys might not have that kind of connection with him, but I'll tell you, you don't even have to be super connected to him to know what I'm talking about. When something is happening and you feel so desperate, and all you know to do is I just got to pray. I just got to pray. And so it was really wonderful. It was awful, but it was really wonderful. Spent a week in the hospital with my husband. The whole vacation was spent in the hospital. And all I did was pray. I didn't get much sleep. I didn't get much rest. It went from, I can't wait to just relax and enjoy Colorado to, oh my God, I just want to get my kids and my family and my husband home. Like if he can leave the hospital. And I prayed all the time, and God showed up in massive ways and like delivered Russ from a really crazy thing that happened. And we came home, but so I had been like crispy, right? I had been stressed and maxed out, and I needed a rest and I needed to recharge. And I not only didn't get it, like my stress just went even higher. So I lost rank again in July. No surprise. I wasn't surprised by that. I knew it was coming. I was like, not only have I not been able to work my plexus biz, but I've been in major crisis, and I kind of don't give a damn about rank this month. And it was sort of like, okay, that's the great thing about network marketing and having this sort of residual income. I got bigger fish to fry. I'll get back to that next month. I'm not saying I didn't work in July. I totally worked in July, but I did not work in the hospital at all. And, I definitely took the week off after that. And the next couple of weeks were just spent like trying to figure out, why in the heck did my husband have a stroke? So all of that to say, I came back, and August was hard. And August I was struggling again. And when I say struggling, I was working. Rachel can attest to that. We were every day strategizing, helping teams, training. But I think my confidence was sort of shot at that point. And so I was also dealing with just so many issues with my husband. Like they were trying to figure out why he had the stroke and all these procedures he had to go through. It was very difficult. So in September, let me get to the point now. In September, Plexus graciously sends me on the diamond trip, even though I'm technically not diamond at this point. And I get there, and I remember thinking, oh my goodness, I am kind of terrified to be on vacation, because the last time we went on vacation, this tragedy happened. But for Russ and I, it was so good to get to go, and honestly, just like, you guys who are parents know what I mean. Like we could have conversations that we actually finished because there weren't three people competing for our attention. So besides the horrible bus crash that we ended up getting in, and I'm only laughing because I literally was like, hey God, I'm good. Like, can I just tee out now? I'm good with the vacation tragedies. But we had a lot of good talks with the Neagles and the Mitchells and the Paynes and some of these other Jewel families that were on the LA and the Hawaii trips. And I hope you guys aren't rolling your eyes at me like, oh yeah, anyone can get rejuvenated in Hawaii. It's true. If you can't get rejuvenated in Hawaii, you might have a problem. But I'll tell you what happened was that it was the first time in a long time that Russ and I had been able to go, oh, we can kind of like dream again. Kind of like we did our first year of Plexus, where we'd go, what if this like takes off? And what could this look like? And so I'm just going to tell you guys, some of y'all are coming to Leaders Retreat and you'll get to hear from Carrie Wilkerson, but there was something about being on that vacation and having my husband be there and having had us been through like kind of a near-death experience. And we just started talking and dreaming again. And it was nice to hear that in his voice. It was really nice to hear him be excited. And Rach got to hear a lot of his thoughts, and it was nice for him to come to the meetings. And one of the things that Carrie had us do, there's a couple things that I'm going to share that Carrie shared with us that stuck out to me. So I hope I don't ruin any future talks for y'all. But one was, she was like, you need to get with your shareholders. That's what she calls your family members, like your spouse, your kids. And you need to decide, what does success look like for you? And I hope some of you guys relate to this. I think in Plexus, we can get so obsessed with ranking and so obsessed with the labels that it literally like pulls our eyes away from our why and the reason we do this. And when I sat with Russ, one of the things that we've known for a long time is money. Money is such an idol for us. Money is where we tend to look to for security. Money is where we can get so laser focused on money that we miss the forest for the trees. And it's definitely one of the biggest things that has tempted us away from keeping Christ as the center of our home. Now we are like totally want to live our lives in a way that's a manner worthy of the calling. But I think you guys will understand sometimes like it's easy to look at your paycheck and go, well, this is how good I'm doing. So our paycheck had been steadily going down because God loves us. And he wanted to say, hey, this is not what I want you to be focused on. So he actually gave us a sense of peace. Like, it's okay. It's okay that we've lost rank and are losing, even more. We sat and talked about what does success look like. And we really decided like, this doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if we say we made this much money, but we didn't, one, glorify him, two, really care about people. Like really care. And that means people when they're struggling. If we didn't care enough to be bold with some people and say, you need to know about this. Like, I don't even care what you think about me because I just want you to know about this opportunity. And to really, instead of thinking, who can I recruit? You know how sometimes you'll be somewhere and you'll be like, oh, you can't even focus because you're thinking, I can't wait to ask this person about Plexus, or this person would be so good at Plexus, that you almost miss the chance to really know them because they're not sitting there thinking about Plexus. They're thinking, oh, this great person is asking me all these questions. It's easy to get all goofed up on that sometimes when you're in recruiting mode. So we went back to, hey, we want to be more involved with people in our community, whether they want to do Plexus or not. We want to recruit people that need this, and we want to help them achieve it. But not because money is an idol and not because my rank is an idol, because we just want to be obedient to God. So we had a lot of good talks, and I'll tell you guys this. I'm usually, whenever Plexus sends out a contest, I get this kind of like vomit feeling like, oh God, now I have to compete with so many people, and I'm not a leaderboard person, and I'm okay with that, But even some of the, like the shopping sprees, I almost want to barf because all I can think is, I can't get there. And what does that mean about me? And y'all, that's such jacked up thinking. It's just, it's missing the whole point of why we do this. I'm not saying that it's not good to set goals. In fact, that's really what's changed for me is I've just started setting goals. But I was setting these goals, and in the meantime, I was already telling myself, I'll never reach it. So what one of the big things that changed was I came home and I said, you know what, God, I want to start going silver every month, and I just need you to make it happen, and I need you to give me favor. But my goal is going to be to do this because I want to help those people. that help me go silver. Not just because I want to go silver or I want to, get someone who's going to go fast start gold or, hit whatever contest is out there. So we started praying, and every single time my husband or I was reaching out to someone, we'd call each other, and I would even call Rachel or Andrea and say, hey, will y'all pray for me? I'm going to reach out to this person. And I'd say, hey, tell me who you want me to pray for too. And it just became more about prayer and listening to God. So I would reach out to people and I'd pray over it. And that was a way of just going, you know what, Lord, if you like, this is all about me helping them. So I just would have a feeling like, I'd think, you know what, I think this person's going to say yes. I feel like God's put them on my heart. And so I'm going to approach them confidently, and I'm going to approach them, with only a little bit of information. So guys, some of the things I've said, and because I know everyone's going, well, what did you say and how'd you do it? I'm just going to tell you that's not as important as the heart behind it. So my heart was, who can I help? And then I'd pray, and then I'd say, hey, you've been on my mind, and I'd love to talk to you about Plexus. I've really been praying that God would help me talk to people that need it. And do you think you need it? Because I'd love to talk to you. And it would be like that short. People would say yes. And then some people would ignore me. And you know what? Even when they ignored me, I thought, I still think I'm supposed to talk to them. So I started focusing on follow-ups. And I've been focusing on getting past that 8 follow-up, pushing toward the 9th and the 10th follow-up, because we all know that's where the beauty is. So I actually went back to cold messaging. I think it had been something that I'd gotten away from, and I'd been telling you guys to do it without integrity of doing it myself. And I'll tell you right now, when people are struggling in growth, because we're not doing our IPA, and I just wasn't doing my IPA. I was tricked into thinking that I was doing Plexus all day long, and I was, but I wasn't working my business. And I was doing really good things, but not the thing that I needed to keep growing. And honestly, I wasn't doing anything that scared me. Honestly, I don't love public speaking. I don't know anyone that just adores it. But this is easier to me. Doing a Zoom call with a bunch of y'all on it personally is easier than me sending 20 cold messages. Sending 20 cold messages makes me want to vomit, and so I just stopped doing it. And you know what? It just showed in my business. So I went back to that, and I thought, I'm going to do scary things. I'm going to trust that the Lord is behind me. I'm not going to question that. And it's been really good. And I'll tell you guys too. So one of the things that Carrie Wilkerson also said was, you get up in the morning and you start your power hour. That's the time that you set out. For some of you guys, it might be the power 15 minutes. But the very first thing you do is you work on your own business. So you send your own messages. You've got your people written down that you need to follow up with. You're keeping up with them. You're taking care of your customers. You're doing all the things that matter to your business first. And so I've also been telling people, stay away from Facebook. Facebook is like Target. I walk into Target for a roll of toilet paper, but an hour later, I've spent $110. Like even today, I randomly walked out with some Halloween decorations, Don't do Facebook. Like, send those messages. Do not go. I can't, some people are sending me messages. I'm not going to answer those right away. It's not that they're not important. It's just that my own business has to be protected. I've got to keep growth. So another thing I did was, I'm really prideful. And because I've been a therapist for 12 years, I really thought, I don't need to read things like John Maxwell. Like, I already have so many degrees and I've already led a company, and y'all, it was just such pride. And pride is such an Achilles heel for me, which is why God loves me enough to let me lose time and rank. Like, it's really because he loves me. He knows that I wouldn't grow without adversity. So started reading. I started a book study with some of my level ones, some of the stuff that I was like telling other people to do, but I wasn't doing it myself. There just wasn't integrity. So that was another thing. And what's neat is it was really reading that book that tonight I was like, I'm going to tell them how much I've been struggling, because you guys can hear all the ways that some of us have succeeded, but I really think you'll relate more with how we've struggled, and we probably don't do that enough. So that's been great. All the things that I wasn't doing, that I was faking, I'm just starting to do them for real. And that's the magic story. And the reason I kind of didn't want to do this call is because I was like, oh, it's going to jinx my business. Like I've been able to add 4 people in 2 weeks, and that feels so fun. We all know that productivity makes this business exciting, you know, and it's not just because of those emails that say you've got money. Those are great, but it's really because it's like, oh, I'm growing. I'm so grateful I'm growing, and fresh blood and training new people. It all feels good. But I would tell you guys to look at whatever you say you're doing, but you're not really doing, and you need to lean into that. And in the past, I've told people, hey, lean into your strengths. Don't worry so much about your weaknesses. And so now I'm rewriting it and saying, oh, you got to pay attention to those weaknesses. There's a reason why you're weak there, and you won't grow unless you force yourself. And so I've just been forcing myself, and it's been really wonderful. And I've realized I can do hard things, and I can get outside of my comfort zone. And yeah, that's been it.
Y'all didn't know I was going to have her take us to church tonight, did you? And I love that, because I knew we did not discuss like the direction that this call was going to go in, but I've known Becky for 20 years, and she's nothing if not transparent and honest. And obviously I know the struggles that she's been through personally in the past year that she discussed with y'all, but I hope that y'all have some good takeaways tonight. I hope that it makes us better leaders in your eyes, that we can be vulnerable with y'all, and that we can say that there are still aspects of this that are hard for us. There are still areas of our business that we struggle in. There are still areas of insecurity, and that truly our heart is that it would always be before the Lord, so that he can bring conviction to us as well. Every single one of you is precious to us. Your dreams matter to us. Your goals, your vision, your why, your families, they matter. And so I would just encourage you guys moving forward from tonight. Some of us have the benefit of having spouses that are very supportive and that will work this business right alongside us. Some of us have reluctant spouses, and some of us have spouses that some of us don't even have a spouse, maybe don't have a partner. But I would just encourage you to take that need. One of the things that I see and was so inspired by spending time with Becky and Russ is that they are partnered in this together. And so if that is, your desire, and you don't feel like you have that with your spouse yet, pray and go before the Lord with that, and ask that he would knit your hearts together as one, that he would make your dreams your husband's dreams, and your husband's dreams your dreams, and let him sort out where in those dreams Plexus fits in. Just watched Erin Zimmerman's Diamond documentary that came out today, and I was really just inspired by it and by her husband. Have these conversations, though, as Becky talked about, meeting with your shareholders. If you were on the call last week when we had the Pauls on there, that's one of the things that they said was, look, these bonuses that Plexus is offering in the month of October are too crazy for us not to go for it 100%. So just let your shareholders know, I'm going to go for this. So we may have to eat some takeout dinners this month, but things will get back to normal next month. And then love just what Becky said about trusting that the Lord is behind us, praying about who he wants on our team. One of the things I said to Michael when we were in Hawaii is that the paycheck that we earn now, yes, it's mind-blowing and it's life-changing, but I don't ever want to forget what it felt like the very first month when I made almost $300, and I thought, we might as well have won the lottery, y'all. It was that life-changing for us. And so that's the kind of hope. We talk about being hope dealers. That's the kind of hope that we want to spread too. So I hope that this was a worthy investment of your time. Becky, you're amazing. I couldn't be more proud of you or more thankful to have you as my business partner and my upline in this.
Thanks, honey. And thanks, you guys. We really value y'all. And I agree with everything Rachel said. And one of the things I want to encourage you guys to do is to share prayer requests with your sponsors. Yes. And ask your loved ones, how can I be praying for you? It's so powerful, and it really will lift your mind up out of the earthly, the pressure that we put on ourselves and the mess that we get our heads in, and it'll just let you turn this all over to the Lord and really, which really just glorifies Him. He's way more glorified in where you're struggling than He is at where you are so pretty and fancy and doing good on your own. So we love you guys. Like Rachel said, thanks so much for being a part. And I will post the recording of this on our team page later tonight. Okay.
Go have a good night.
Thanks,
love
guys.